There are many things you want to know in this world. People, things, places, events, their characteristics or qualities makes you wonder continuously, frequently, or intermittently. Marveling at them, you tend to immerse yourself in a situation where you seem to be grappling with a problem or a puzzle. Questions after questions on the many aspects of the object of your curiosity prod you to move, act, or do something to find answers to your questions, or to discover truths about your inferences or speculations on such object. Behaving like an investigator, asking and seeking answers to some questions about the thing you find puzzling indicates the true nature of inquiry or research. After this lesson, you should be able to relate an unfamiliar term with other terms to discover the meaning of such a difficult term. Explain the meaning of research in relation to inquiry. Point out the similarities and differences of research and inquiry. Distinguish lower-level questions from top-level questions to give stress to investigate kind of thinking. Judge the applicability of inquiry or research to a given situation. And appraise the value of concept learned about the inquiry and research. One goal of education is knowledge acquisition. However, education is not just stocking your brain with knowledge, but it also encourages you to use acquired knowledge for a deeper understanding of the world. An understanding that inspires you to create, construct, or produce things for the betterment of not only your own life but of the whole world as well. How is this possible? So, the nature of inquiry and research in education goes simply acquiring knowledge. It involves using the knowledge you gain to gain a deeper understanding of the world and to inspire creativity and innovation. So, for example, when you learn about environmental issues in school, you can use that knowledge to research and develop solutions to address that problems, contributing of the betterment of both your own life and the whole world. Inquiry is a term that is synonymous with the word investigation. When you inquire or investigate, you tend to ask questions to prove or examine something. You do this kind of examination through your HATS or higher order thinking strategies of inferential, analytical, critical, creative, and appreciative thinking to discover more understandable or meaningful things beyond such object of your inquiry. Thinking in this manner makes you ask open-ended questions to elect views, opinions, and beliefs of others in relation to your research. So when we talk about inquiry, we are essentially referring to the process of investigation or exploration. So it involves asking questions and using higher order thinking strategies such as inferential, analytical, critical, creative, and appreciative thinking to delve deeper into a topic. Characteristics of research. Research is a scientific, experimental, or inductive manner of thinking. Starting from particular to more complex ideas, you execute varied thinking acts that range from lower order to higher order thinking strategies reflected by these research activities, identifying the topic or problem, gathering data, making theories, formulating hypotheses, analyzing data, and drawing conclusions. Cognitively driven terms like empirical, logical, cyclical, analytical, critical, methodical, and replicable are the right descriptive words to characterize research. These powerful modifiers that your previous research subject, practical research 1, explained to a certain extent are the very same terms to characterize any quantitative research you intend to carry out this time. So, research is a systematic way of thinking. and conducting investigation to expand our knowledge. It typically involves these steps. First is identifying the topic or problem. So this is the initial step where you choose a subject or issue to investigate, usually based in your interests or existing gaps in knowledge. Next is gathering data. So in this step, you collect relevant information and data related to your chosen topic. This can involve experiment, surveys, literature reviews, or observation. Another step is making theories. So as you gather data, you might start forming hypotheses or theories to explain the observed phenomena or patterns. These are educated guesses based on existing knowledge. Another one is formulating hypotheses. You create specific statement that can be tested through experimentation, data analysis. Hypotheses predict outcomes and guide the research process. Next step is analyzing data. So once you've collected data, you use statistical or analytical methods to examine it. This helps you determine if your hypotheses are supported or if there are significant findings. The last one is drawing conclusions. Based on your data analysis, you draw conclusions about the topic or problem you were investigating. These conclusions can provide insights, confirm or reject hypotheses, and contribute to the body of knowledge in your field. So, throughout the research process, you engage in various thinking strategies, from basic data collection to more advanced critical thinking and analysis. So, research helps us better understand the world and contribute new knowledge to our respective fields. So the data you work on in research do not come mainly from yourself, but also other sources of knowledge, like people, books, and artworks, among others. Hence, one cardinal principle in research is to give acknowledgement to owners of all sources of knowledge involved in your research work. Giving credit to people from whom you derive your data is your way of not only thanking the authors of their contributions to the field, but also establishing the validity and reliability of the findings of your research that ought to serve as instrument for world progress. So, in research, it's crucial to acknowledge that your data often comes from various sources beyond your own work, such as books, people, and artworks. This principle is essential because it not only shows gratitude to contributors, but also adds credibility to your research findings. So, by giving credit to those who provide the data, you not only honor their contributions, but also bolster the reliability and validity of your research. So, for example, just as this reference. Methods of research. To be a researcher is to be a scientist who must think logically or systematically. That is, your research activities must follow a certain order, like doing inductive thinking that makes you ponder on specific ideas first, then move to more complex concepts like conclusions or generalizations, or do the opposite of inductive thinking, which is deductive thinking that lets you start from forming generalizations to examining details about the subject matter. So, in research, you can use two main approaches: the inductive thinking, which is starting with specifics and moving to generalizations, or the deductive thinking, which is starting with general principles and examining specifics. These are not the only approaches, though, that you can adhere in planning your research work. Depending on your topic and purpose, you are free to choose from several approaches, methods, and type of research you learned in your previous subject, Practical Research 1. Inquiry vis a research. One scholarly activity that greatly involves inquiry is research, similar to inquiry that starts from what you are ignorant about. Research makes you learn something by means of a problem solving technique. Both inquiry and research encourage you to formulate questions, to direct you to the exact information you want to discover about the object of your curiosity. Your questions operate like scrutiny of a person's attire to find out what are hiding between or among the compartment or folded parts of his or her clothes. Although the core word of the both inquiry and research is investigation or questioning, they are not exactly the same in all aspects. So, this passage explains the relationship between inquiry and research. Both inquiry and research involves asking questions, but research is more structured and problem-solving oriented form of inquiry. They share the core elements of investigations or questioning, but they differ in their approaches and goals.